Welcome back to Big Gold Belt Media. Damien G here, reviewing the new Amazon Prime show starring Jesse Williams, Hotel Costiera. Now, what happens when you try to combine parts of Magnum PI, for those old enough to know who Magnum PI is, Fantasy Island, and a splash of a whodunit mystery? Well, that's what you get when you watch Hotel Costiera. Jesse Williams plays Double D Danny DeLuca, say that 3 times fast, and he's the concierge with a twist at the ritzy, schmoozy Hotel Costiera, who he's more like Ray Donovan, more so than Alfred Pennyworth. So his backstory is he's an ex-Marine, handles customers' concerns, but a lot of these range from finding lost dogs, as we see in the first maybe 5 minutes of the show. Then there's damsels in distress, there's a murder mystery, and there's also casket procurement. Yeah, I said that right. Casket procurement. So safe to say it's a mixed bag for Danny, which leads us down a weird path of trying to find a missing daughter. It just happens to be the daughter of the owner, Augusto, who has taken Danny in, who have kind of a uncle-nephew relationship. At least that's how I got it. And as I said in the opening, there are a lot of notes here of a fun Fantasy Island meets Magnum, at least in theory. The framework is there. The execution, not so much, I'm sorry to say. Seeing Jesse Williams, Danny, juggle his priorities and all the things he has to do with being a concierge, with trying to solve mysteries while trying to fight his way out of problems. It does become one note after a while. It starts to lose a little bit of its, here's that word again, nuance, probably by the time we get to episode 3. And by the time I got to episode 3, I was wondering, are we too long in the tooth for this series already? Because it's the 6th episode, season 1. And I just felt like it took way too long to get to the main plot, or at least flush it out. And then by the time we get to the end of the season, there's kind of an Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12 vibe, subplot going on, and it just follows all these tropes. Now, one of the things I've realized about Amazon and their shows is that they will lean heavy into whatever the genre is, and they will double down. From Butterfly to Countdown, amongst others that I've covered here on the channel, this falls in a long line of, hey, let's get popular actor A, make them the star of this, and the star power would be enough to bring these people in to watch this show. Here's the problem with that. Just because you have a couple of main line actors and well-known actors and actresses does not beget good writing. An actor is only good as the writing that they're given and the stuff they have to perform. And I gotta say, formulaic isn't even the answer. It's not even the first word I would come up with to describe this show. I would say almost redundant. And by that, I mean, once you solve one problem, all the other problems are gonna get solved the same way. Now, I mentioned Ray Donovan earlier. Where Ray Donovan excelled, where this misses, is that in between Ray's forays as a fixer, there is family stuff, there is other dynamics and other subplots going on with him. Now, I know that there's a lot to push in for a 6-episode first season. But man, they tried really hard to push everything down the can, and at least in my opinion, it did not click at all. And it's not to say, again, that this is a bad show, but even saying it's run-of-the-mill feels as if that's not even the proper way for me to say it. Generic, sure. Run-of-the-mill, they wish they could be. And I mean this with all the love in my heart. Now, I'm not saying, again, that it was bad. I'm saying it was just there. And sometimes that is the worst thing to do as a movie or a show, is to be just there and occupying a time slot, or in this case, your streaming hours or your streaming time. Now, I will say there were some things I really did enjoy. The visuals, Whatever Amazon is doing to bring us these gorgeous visuals that we see week in, week out, or episode in and episode out, you would have thought they blew the budget strictly on the visuals, because the Italian backdrop, I have never been to Italy, but just going off of what I saw on the show, I feel as if I need to move to Italy ASAP, just because it has beautiful countryside, cliff sides, oceans, just beauty. And I'd like to think that this is a beautiful place to be, especially if you're going to this all-inclusive hotel called Hotel Costiera. It's basically a 5-star all-inclusive resort for high rollers in the Italian countryside. Easiest way for me to say that. So at the very least, we had some good visuals. Now the performances. All I'm going to say, as I stated before, is actors sometimes are only able to pull off things because of the writing. And the performances, while spirited, and this is an ensemble cast, and I will admit some of the ancillary players are memorable in some ways, and some you can just kind of point and click and drag and drop, and you would have had the same thing. This is no besmirching on any of the actors. This is strictly from what I saw and the things that I was experiencing while watching this show. The action scenes, passable. The chase scenes, I actually liked a little bit better. Anything with cars, I feel as if that was probably one of the best parts of the show. Better than Motorheads. If you've seen that review here on Big Gold Belt Media, go and check that out. Another Amazon Prime show. But it was just nice to see chases in cars that felt relatively realistic. Relatively. Think French Connection, if you're old enough to know what the French Connection is. Those kinds of chase scenes. I'm not saying it's to that level. I'm saying it reminded me of it, and that's not a bad thing. So let's put a bow on this. 6 episodes for season 1. There's a whodunit. There's a whole bunch of problems that Double D has to solve. There's some relationship dynamics with one of his, I guess, co-workers that is played up maybe by episode 3 or 4. And then he has this kind of heart of gold situation where he will make sure to take care of those he comes across. So as a lead, is it funny? Is it exciting? I'd say for Jesse Williams, coming off of Grey's Anatomy, because that's where most of us know him from, passable. And that's what I'm going to say about his overall performance of Double D. And as I said, this might have been 3 episodes too long. This could have been a mini series, and I think you could have tied this up very nicely, because there are some story fronts that blend together and throughout the episodes that are callbacks, let's say from episode 1 all the way by the time we get to episode 5 or 6. There are some strings that are tugged at that bring it all the way back. But I honestly feel as much as they try to shove all this in, you could have gotten away with 3 episodes and make this a movie series. Now, again, is this bad? No. Is it great? Definitely not. It's just there. With that being said, I give this a grade of a C-. Go and tune in to season 1 of Hotel Costiera. Let me know. Prime Video, September 24th. Am I wrong? Am I off base? Did you enjoy it? Or is everybody just in agreement where it's okay, and sometimes okay isn't bad? It just is. But meanwhile, go and check us out. Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com, your one-stop shop for all things entertainment. Find me on social media at the Damien G or the Damien Gracia. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, all that good stuff at Damien G Show. And remember, kids, just because you have big-time actors doesn't mean it's going to guarantee that it's going to be good. Just saying. That's how I feel about Hotel Costiera. Great visuals, so-so acting, really crummy writing. C- again here on Big Gold Belt Media, and I will catch you on the next one.